Yeah, I was watching the Trump press conference, and he was talking about the ANTIFA, all that, and then he was talking about the TYLENOL, and he was telling people to don't take it at all. And when I was back in the day, I took it and it didn't have any warning labels on the bottle. Plus, the doctor told me it was okay to take it. He just said, don't take ibuprofen. So, what about us? What about us who weren't warned about it and there was no warning on the bottle um, back then, back in 2009, 2010, and beyond, 2009, 2010? And they're saying, oh, the incidences of AUTISIM were higher with people that had babies that were boys that were also circumcised because they were told to give them TYLENOL, right? And they said that was more prevalent in boys, obviously, and it is more prevalent in boys to have it. Um, and now there's idiots that are taking TYLENOL because they don't like Trump, so they're taking it during pregnancy, and it's really stupid. Because if I was told back then to not take it, and was given a warning and the studies and all that, I would definitely not use it for anything in the world or ever give it to my baby at all or my kid as it got bigger too. I would completely avoid it because they said before there was TYLENOL, there was aspirin. People use aspirin. And they said that TYLENOL, trying to spell, wasn't invented till the 1980s, I guess. But people used to take aspirin for a headache back then. Not all this TYLENOL, and other countries apparently don't have that over the counter. We are the only country apparently that has that, and that we take it, and that's why our rates are so high, or are so high of AUTISIM because of that. So I don't think they can pull it from the market completely because people still use it because us Americans we're always trying to find a way to get rid of inflammation and symptoms and all that. We don't want to wait around, because we live in a first world country. So we want to get rid of fever and all that right away. We don't want to sit around and be feverish and all that sick, because some of us got to go to work. You can't sit there and have a high fever, and you don't want your kids because they say if your fever gets too high, it can cause brain damage. So what do we do about that? Back in the day, because even hospitals were giving it to people to lower their fevers. You know what I mean? And they say after you get a SHOT, you know what I mean, jab or whatever, they would tell you go take that as needed for any inflammation or whatever, swelling from the injection site. They would tell you to do that. So I don't see what it's like. What do we do now? What about us back then that weren't warned about it? What do we do? What do we do about what we weren't warned about back then? Like we just have to eat it on it, right? We have to accept the damage that was done to us or our children, right? Because now there's the warnings. And they go, oh, they put the warnings on it in 2013 on the Tylenol bottle. I'm saying the word Tylenol. Uh, See what I'm saying? Anyways, yeah, they said they put the warning label on it in 2013. Well, that was too little too late because I took it before 2013 and the doctors were telling me that it was okay to take it, just not ibuprofen at all. And stay out of hot tubs, stuff like that. Don't do hot tubbing, none of that. When you're pregnant, no hot tubs, no ibuprofen, stay away from litter boxes. And then they said Tylenol was fine to take back in 2009, 2010. And before that, too. My other kids who were born in 95 and 97, they said it was okay to take Tylenol. And it's weird. So I don't know if anyone sees what's going on here, but I do. So I guess you can't really get into that. And then there's the spending bill, right? And the media is telling Trump this morning they're all. Um, we heard that there's a temporary bill that can be passed just so the government can be reopened, and it's probably been written up by the Democrats. You know what I mean? And it's got a bunch of pork in it, and it'll just undermine everything Trump's trying to do. And he better not fall for it. I hope he doesn't fall for it and go along with their bill, the temporary bill, because they're like soldiers aren't getting paid, that kind of thing. But you see, they say with more of the layoffs, it's going to create more revenue money that they said Trump can use to help fund other programs that are being deprived right now. He was able to fund WIC with the layoffs and the tariffs too. I guess he was able to find the money to fund it, so people don't go without the WIC program. So kudos to him for doing that. So the longer the government shut down, the more layoffs are going to happen of people that aren't necessary workers. So that will help generate money that would others be spent on that, and he can give that to the soldiers. Or the Democrats can vote yes on the Republican spending bill and open the government right away before the end of the week, before Friday, which is tomorrow. They could vote tomorrow or they could vote right now and vote yes. And they said they only need 5 votes, senator votes. And the only Republican that voted against the Republican spending bill was Rand Paul. Why Rand Paul? Why does he have to be the wild card? Oh, because I'm like an independent or whatever. It's like, okay. Um, whatever. I don't give a crap about him. But yeah, he was the only Republican apparently, but he kind of identifies as an independent. Voted against the Republican spending bill. He's the only one that voted against it. And they only need 5 Democrats to vote. I think 5, because they need 60 votes to vote yes on the Republican spending bill, and it's only good till January, and they have to make another budget after that. So it's not permanent. So the Democrats can't find it in their hearts to just vote on it, vote yes right now to reopen the government, because it's going to be revisited in January. So I don't see what the big deal is. It's only till January. And they can drop another spending bill again after January and throw it out there and whatever. And the Republicans can do the same thing in January. It's only a temporary bill. But obviously, it's like balancing your checkbook because it varies. Everything varies. That's probably why they're doing it like that. So, yeah, that disturbed me when they were like, well, the Democrats have a temporary bill that you can vote on to reopen the government temporarily till January. It's like, no, we're not going to take their secondary bill that the Democrats wrote up because it's got nothing but pork in it. It's probably thousands of pages, and they want them to hurry up and vote on it, not even read it. Like the Dem said, they go, you got to pass it to know what's in it, to know what's in the bill. Just pass it, just like the auto pen. It's the same thing. Like we don't even know if he even read it before he signed it, the executive order. We don't even know if he even read the executive order. But the auto pen was in there for Biden. You know, it's like whatever, dude. You probably didn't even read them. Probably just they just did that. Yeah, that's not being visited. So, anyways, I'm just practicing my First Amendment here right now. So, because I know conservatives are starting to come back on here and upload videos and do live streams and stuff. Oh yeah, speaking of that live stream, I was on NPC channel, politics, non-political, whatever it's like, PC. Um, I noticed that my comments on his channel are shadow banned. Like he can't see them, either he's deleting them or they're being shadow banned because I don't know what I said that was wrong. Because all I said was that Charlie Kirk is going to get the free the Nobel, I think it's called the Nobel Peace of Freedom of Speech award. I guess it's all. I think it's called. He's going to get one of those, the Medal of Speech. I think, just like MLK, it's the same kind of not for peace, but it's for speech. Medal of Peace and Speech. I think it's mostly speech or Medal of Speech. He's going to get one of those on October 14th, and it's going to be somewhat of a ceremony, I guess. And it's going to be a big event because he does deserve that Medal of Speech. So, congratulations, Charlie Kirk. You actually helped encourage people to keep speaking out and stop being afraid. So, kudos to him. But yeah, he deserves that. And one thing I say is Ben Shapiro doesn't deserve to be on Turning Point because he doesn't even believe in Doesn't even believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. There's that. He doesn't even acknowledge Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. So why would he be on Turning Point? That's the Christian. That's the Christian channel. That's the Christian company that goes to different schools and universities and tries to spread the word of God and conservatism. You shouldn't have people that don't acknowledge Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. You shouldn't have them on Turning Point as a guest or whatever because they deny Christ. That's not okay. Don't put atheists on there either because they don't acknowledge Christ. Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. You shouldn't be on a Christian channel speaking to people because all you're doing is spreading disinformation to people, and it's not okay. Turning Point is a Christian channel. It's a Christian organization, Christian only. There's no exceptions. There shouldn't be any exceptions. So I hope they don't put Ben Shapiro on there as a permanent guest on there. I know he wants to sit in Charlie Kirk's chair, but no one can replace Charlie Kirk. Nobody. I don't care how much of a Christian you are. You cannot replace him. You cannot replace who he was and what he did. You cannot replace him. Just like you can't replace our founding fathers, who they were and the work they did. You can't replace them either. They cannot be replaced. Nobody can replace them as in the legacy they left. Nobody can replace that. Just like Elvis, no one can replace Elvis. There's tons of impersonators of Elvis Presley, but no one can replace him as an artist, who he was and what he did. Nobody can replace him as a human being, who he was, and the uniqueness of who he, uh, of his work. Nobody. Just like Charlie Kirk, no one can replace him in the way that he conveyed his messages and his ideas. No one can replace the impact that he had on this world. And I say world because of all the people that love Charlie Kirk and even love him even more now that he's been martyred. More people love Charlie Kirk. As a matter of fact, I bought a Charlie Kirk shirt and I can't even really afford it. And it's like $25, $30 for the t-shirt. And I can't even afford to be spending money. And I felt guilty about it at first because I'm broke. But then I'm like, you know what? It's worth the investment because he actually was a good person. He tried to spread the word of God to as many people as he could and not falter from that. Um, and it cost him too by doing that, by spreading the word of God. It cost him trying to educate people on right and wrong. So just saying. Oops, sorry about that. My stuff is falling down. All my stuff is falling down, my fair lady. All my stuff is falling down, falling down. This is button. Private chat. I don't need to do a layout because it's just me. I'm the only one. Hi, Tammy. Thanks for coming in. I'm just on YouTube that censors really bad. Um, I was on the NPC channel and I noticed like all my comments are invisible. Other people can't see them. And I don't know if it's NPC doing it channel or if it's YouTube doing it. Um, yeah, amen, right? Charlie Kirk, right? Like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but um, I bought a Charlie Kirk shirt and I couldn't really afford it because I'm broke. Because I'm an American and I live in California too, so I'm more broke. And everything costs 3 times as much here in California, gas, everything. But I bought a Charlie Kirk shirt and I kind of felt guilty about it, because it was like almost $30 shirt. And the next morning I thought about it. I'm like, no, I don't feel guilty because if I wear that out in public, maybe another person will want to go out and check him out, like actually look him up and see who he is. That's kind of how you spread the word too, you know? You don't have to stand on a street corner and virtue signal Charlie Kirk's name, but you can just wear his t-shirt and yeah, that's not much, is it? No, you can't even live on that. Yeah, and you know how much rents are here in California? They're over $1,400, $1,500 a month for one bedroom. A lot of them, and in Los Angeles, they're like 2,000 a month for a one bedroom. And a lot of people down there on Section 8, and That's the only reason they can afford it. That's the only reason why a lot of people can afford to live down there, down south, Southern California, is because a lot of them have Section 8. And these landlords don't care as long as they get their check and it's a sure thing. But their rents are really high. I just, I don't know how they afford it. I live in Northern California and rents are high enough. I couldn't live in San Diego area, that kind of thing, because the rents are so expensive. They're over like 2 grand a month. And it's just a subpar type of apartment. I don't know how people afford it. It's bad enough up here up north. You know what I mean? Did you see that? Speaking of up north, did you see that Katie Porter? She was like being interviewed in Sacramento, and because she's running for the governor, I guess one of the candidates, and she was like getting all mad because the reporter from CNN or whoever it was asking her about winning over the votes of the 40% that are Republican in California. And she's like, I'm not going to answer that. That's like a loaded question or whatever. It's like, no, you have to answer that because all the other candidates had to answer those questions, same set of questions, the Republicans and Democrat candidates. And she's like, I don't like this. This is not friendly. It's like, it's not supposed to be friendly. This is the governorship. This is a very important job. It's actually more important than being a senator. You're in charge of the whole state. And she was like, oh, I don't like this. And I found out that they were saying, the channel is called Conservative Resurgence. He was banned on YouTube and he was let back up, but he did a video about her. It was only about 10 minutes. And he showed all the clips of her being really mean and nasty. She's just a very angry person. Her name is Katie Porter. And she's an ex senator, and now she wants to run for governor. So it's really sad because she's such an. It's like exactly, yeah. We don't need that type of energy here. There's enough stress here in this state. We don't need people like that. Oh, 460 mortgage on trailer, 405 lot rent. Oh, so yeah, your mortgage isn't too bad, but your lot rent is sucks. So it all adds up in the end. Sucks, and that doesn't include utilities. Yeah, you still get stiffed no matter what. Doesn't matter what you live in, you still get stiffed. If you live in a house or trailer or whatever, you still get stiffed. They still get you one way or the other in utilities, all that. Yeah, I tried to find out if I could save money on my car insurance. It was like some gimmick. Anyways, they just gave me like this terrible quote. And then once I got the quote, I kind of lost interest in it because it was like 200 something a month for 2 cars. And I don't want to pay that because right now I only pay 100 a month on the policy I'm at now, but we're so poor that we're still trying to find a cheaper rate, but there isn't. That's as cheap as they can go because I have low mileage on my car. I don't drive that much because I can't afford to. But the cheapest they can go is 100 a month. Yeah, it's in California and it's Geico insurance, so they got it down to 100 a month because I was able to prove my low mileage on my odometer on my car, on one of my cars. I have 2 cars, but they're both pretty old. But I was able to prove the odometer's low. And they said if they didn't believe me, they would have to do an investigation themselves. But yeah, I told them what my odometer said. So they were able to give me a cheaper rate. Hold on a second. I got to answer the door. What? I didn't lock it. You did. Yeah, I didn't turn it off. I'm watching. Trying to build my channel. I know. I'm just letting because my channel sucks. Yeah. So sorry. I was just unlocking the door. So, anyways, what was I saying? Um, yeah, you can't get a cheaper rate for car insurance. I don't think. There's just what they do is they scam you into checking it out and then they start spamming you really bad. And they know people are desperate for lower prices and lower costs on everything because everything's so expensive. So yeah, that's how they scam you and they pull you in. And they might get one sucker out of a dozen in a day. So whatever, they work overtime doing it. It's like if they were legitimate business, they wouldn't spam you like that. They would just leave you alone. If you didn't call them back or whatever, respond. They would respect you and just back off and leave you alone. Because they know if you're interested, you'll always come back. You can always recheck it out. They don't give you that grace period. They're kind of like if someone says like a used car salesman. They're slimy. They're trying to say that about Trump and his team that they're used car salesmen. Well, if he's a used car salesman, he's selling good cars because so far so good. You know what I mean? So yeah, they had what's his name? RFK Jr. talking about the AUTISIN. And he was saying that it's higher rate in boys and girls. And he said also if you got your son circumcised, you gave him Tylenol. Most likely, most parents probably gave the baby Tylenol after because they tell the parent to give them Tylenol for pain. So yeah, anyone that's had a baby boy and had a circumcised probably gave the baby Tylenol. And it's only natural for you to do that because you don't want your child to be in pain. Nobody wants their child to be in pain. They want them to not feel any pain at all. So yeah, you all got pulled into that crap. My question is if we've been using that the whole time since the 80s, right, when Tylenol was implemented, because before everyone used aspirin for headaches.
Here. Is that mine?
Yeah, that's yours. Yeah, so it's only been going on since the 80s, I guess. It's Tylenol use when it was implemented. So it hasn't been going on that long. And why?
The other room.
What?
Take it in the other room.
I am taking the other room, taking it to the streets, like Doobie Brothers. Yeah, so yeah, it's only been going on since the 80s. And why isn't there more people that have autism then? You know, why did it just start in the like 2000s? Apparently, right when this all basically started, because nobody even heard about it, until like the late 2000s that people were getting or having that issue. Yeah, exactly. But they have this new stuff. It's called starts with an L, I guess, for the autism. Lomatrin, or don't quote me on it, but it starts with an L, and they said they've had good results with it, and they say you need to go to your doctor and ask them about it. It helps reverse some of it, not like cure it, but it can help with that pathway in the brain, and it has to do with folate, which is B9. Basically, it's like a vitamin that's missing. So I'm not giving out medical advice either, but if they say if you're desperate, you could try out that medicine starts with an L for the kids. No way, it made my neighbor kid worse. The L stuff that starts with an L. Yeah, they're telling people they could try it. Um, but what I did was I just bought some B9 drops. It's like liquid, and I don't know if it'll work. It may not, but it is organic. It's just a vitamin, and they did said it's folate, which is B9, which is a missing component, I guess, in the part of the brain. And if you can supplement it, it might help with those pathways, I guess, in the brain with cognitive problems. I have them myself sometimes, and I take vitamins. No one's perfect, you know what I mean? I take magnesium and stuff. And I'm not telling anybody what to do. No one misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not telling anyone what to do with their own body or their own health. So don't anyone just do whatever you want. Don't do what I do. Do whatever you want. So, you know what I mean? I'm not an infomercial like trying to sell something to somebody and convince people this is it. This is the one. I'm not doing that. Tea blue. Never heard of that. Never heard of it. So you said a neighbor's kid got worse after they took the stuff that starts with an L. I'm not going to say it because it's probably not a good idea to say it. So I'm not going to. I'm not going to say the name. Oh, Termaline. Does that actually work? Supposedly, right? The results may vary, right? That's how it is with stuff. It's like, try it, see if it works. There's no guarantee. I never heard of it. but they call it T-Blue for short. Hmm. Never heard of it. I was doing the B9 and the folate. It's called basically AKA folate. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. So I think it's in its infancy stage right now where people are testing out things, trying things to see if there can be any improvements. Oh, yeah, you can't spell it, huh? Yeah. I mean, I don't even trust these DOCTORS at this point because they were the ones doling it out and saying how perfect it was and how it's going to help the schedule stuff. You know, I'm talking about scheduled. Oh, yeah, I might write that one down, huh? When I go to the vampire doctor. Because they all have that, these kid doctors, they have like a vampire-ish kind of attitude. So it's just kind of creepy, you know? It is what it is, right? I'm just trying to get some note paper. I'm gonna write that down before I forget, because I will forget. So does that work? Because they were saying that one stuff that starts with an L, like you could ask your doctor for it. And they're like, we've had some clinical studies and we've seen improvements or whatever. It's like it's like you're almost desperate, right? Yeah, and they say kids that have autism, they also have potty training issues. Oh, they wanted to give my kid Prozac. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm not gonna just dope him up on that. I might look that up, see if that works. Yeah. Oh, you because it affects those your kidneys. Oh, well, I guess it varies, right? Because they say some kids that have autism have problems with potty training, but not all. They didn't say all kids, but this it's kind of a typical thing to have problems with potty training, and also haircuts. Like they don't like the haircut. They don't like getting a haircut, especially boys. Obviously, they're autistic. They don't like the haircut. They just don't like it. Yeah, at this point, you're willing to try anything, right? To just for any improvements at all. Yeah, and the schools, they don't know what to do, you know? They don't know how to deal with these kids that have autism. They just put them in the regular classrooms with the other kids and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to approach it, you know? Too bad there's not special schools just for kids like that. Because it's kind of a unique thing, you know? It's very unique. It's all very sensory. It's all about sensory, all that. And they don't like changes, that kind of thing. Oh, I already have methylene blue. I already have some right now. I got it from Alex Jones show. Yeah, you just add it to water, like a dropper full of it, and it turns the water blue and it turns your tongue blue. I already have 2 bottles of it. Um, I don't use it myself, but yeah, I do have 2 bottles of it. It's supposed to help though. I only did 1 dose, so I don't know. I just did it. I bought it because I wanted to support Alex Jones show, his network, because he's being sued. So I wanted to help him out because he has put on a lot of good people on his show, a lot of good guests and all that, and he's exposed a lot of stuff. He is kind of neurotic, but whatever. Who the hell isn't neurotic nowadays, right? Who isn't uptight and nervous and just having a lot of anxiety. Let me look at our environment. Obviously, it's hard to be kind of normal and calm when you're around people that are just not good people. Yeah, so yeah, and there's all these lawyers that are picking up people that want to file cases if you took Tylenol or if your kid took Tylenol during that time and your child's been diagnosed with autism or whatever. It's preliminary right now. They don't know how it's going to go. But there's lawyers that are willing to take on these cases now because all you have to do is give them the medical records, copy of the medical records proving your child has been affected in the timeline when your child was affected. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's preliminary right now. It's all in the beginning stages. So if you have a child that's autistic, you might have a chance to get a case because of the Tylenol. Because they said if you took Tylenol or if you gave your baby Tylenol after the baby was born, before 2013 or whatever. I thought it came out in 1985, the 80s. Because it didn't really start until the late 2000s that all these people had kids with autism. Yeah, it's really strange. I don't know if if the ingredients were changed or what, you know, in it, and that's why. Oh, yeah, they said other countries don't use Tylenol for some reason. I don't know. Only United States, I guess, and that's why we have the problems. And they said the Amish people have no autism in their villages. I guess they have no autism at all. They have no autism, zero. But us in America, separate from the Amish, we have autism. We have kids with autism. So it's really weird. And it's funny because you're online, you can't really get any specifics, if you know what I mean, about everything. You can't like you can't act like you're in a bar room talking to somebody and just talking and being truthful. You can't. You literally can't belly up to the bar and talk about things, where you feel comfortable just saying whatever. This isn't the 1980s anymore. Here I am. Yeah, I don't think it has to do with your age though, because I filed a case before where there was this guy that was harassing me at work, and he wasn't white, let's just say that. And he did it for years and years, and I finally had it with him and I told on him, and the employer had to look into it, and I had an attorney, so they were able to do something about it. So don't despair, Don't despair. Never say never that it would never work out for you, because maybe it would. If you've been damaged in some way, I guess. Yes, on Tylenol case, nobody before 2000. Yeah, no one before 2019 can. Yeah, after 2013, I think you can't file it, I think, because they put a warning label on it, something like that. But I'm not sure. It's all kind of fuzzy, you know what I mean? It's like, why is this a certain like window of time or when it happened or whatever? You know what I mean? Because it seemed to increase after my kid was born. Yeah, they must have changed it when apparently these damages were done, like when that time frame was. Because, like you said, if you think it was developed in 1955, then everyone that took it from 1955 on would have a case. Everybody, even if there was no damage, like everybody could. Everyone could jump on the bandwagon and say, "Yeah, I'm damaged, or my kid's damaged, or whatever." You know what I mean? Like anything, you could say it did just about anything to you. I don't know. kind of a weird thing, but it's the autism is what the key is. Nothing else, no other disorders, just autism. That's the only thing that they link it to. That's the only thing it's linked to. Because everything else had warning labels on it before 2013. Like the stomach or not that yeah, liver damage. They warn people too much trauma causes liver damage. Of course, that was they were very adamant about warning people about that. So you couldn't get them on that because they clearly warned people. Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing about that guy that did that in 1982. Yeah. And there was obviously lost. Actually, I don't know if you could sue the company because that wasn't their fault. You know what I mean? It was just some idiot that did that. It wasn't the company's fault. It was the idiot. Like back in the 80s, even you're mentioning the 80s, somebody contaminated the Gatorade bottles. Remember that? Back when they came out with Gatorade in the 80s, somebody put something nasty in Gatorade bottles and people got sick from it. And it was because some jerk did that. And it was right when they had just basically come out with Gatorade. It was like a brand new product. And no one thought anything of it. People just bought Gatorade and drank it, because it was it had the electrolytes or whatever. And people were like, yeah, I'm an athlete. I want to drink some Gatorade. No one thought anything of it. They went to the store and bought Gatorade. And that was back before they had the Max packs, where they all linked together with the pull tabs or whatever. It was they were sold separately per bottle. And people were doing that. Somebody did that. Yeah, it's just disgusting. It's like, what kind of, that's not funny, you know? That's not even considered a prank. That's just sick, really sick. Oh yeah, I also heard when I was a kid, the Taco Bell that was in near where I lived, they said that somebody crapped in the beans or whatever, in the beans for the bean burritos or whatever. I didn't believe it. I'm like, no way. Why would somebody do that? It's disgusting. Here we are getting in a weird area, right? We're talking about weird stuff. But I remember hearing about that. I'm like, oh wow. And I'm like, thank God I'm too poor to eat Taco Bell at the time. I was too poor, so I wasn't going to get any of the beans anyway. But I remember hearing that. I'm like, that is disgusting. Like that, I don't know. You know what I mean? That is just absolutely disgusting. People are just sick. Yeah, so we're in the dilemma right now, right? With the whole thing of the government being shut down, but then they said it could be a good thing in a way too, because they said gold is increasing in value right now since the shutdown. I guess more people are buying gold, so the gold prices are the value's going up. Probably silver too, so people are gonna start investing because they think the banks might go to shit or whatever. So people are starting to invest in minerals and all that instead of just dumping all their money into bank. They don't want currency. They want tangible goods like gold. And actually, the tangible good is the milk and the eggs and all that. Those are the tangible goods. That's the good stuff right there. If you have that, you're free. You're good. You're good. Because people are gonna be looking for resources, as in food, more than money. Money's not gonna mean nothing. It'll be like Venezuela money. Crap. Total freaking crap. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, they said Trump's gonna get the Nobel Peace Prize because of the Hamas Israel peace deal. Then they're like, oh, and he's also gonna get a Nobel Peace Prize because he's gonna give Ukraine some kind of missile or something. It's like, um, what? Don't give Ukraine any missiles. They don't need a missile. What they need is just stop being stupid. Stop giving him weapons and stuff. Oh yeah, he's gonna get a Nobel Peace Prize for giving Ukraine a missiles. It's like, what the hell? And I also tend to believe the reason why we isolate Russia is because they're Christian. That's why we don't like them, and that's why they're not invited to any of the Olympic Games, that kind of stuff. And they were also kicked out of the uninvited to what was it called? The Battle of the Bulge. It was like the anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge, and it was the soldiers that were there that were at the there at the time when that happened. We crossed over into Germany. I think it was Germany, whichever. I'm not a big historian, but they didn't invite the Russian veterans to the Battle of the Bulge, the celebration of the Battle of the Bulge. And I thought that was really rude. And Putin mentioned that was really wrong, that they couldn't put their differences aside, at least temporarily, to honor those men that fought in that war. And Russia is the one who actually stopped the Nazis. They were the ones who stopped it. We just came in and assisted them after they stopped the Nazis. So we should give Russia some credit. I'm not saying kiss their butt or anything, but they do deserve some recognition that they were the ones who stopped Hitler. They were the first ones there. So if anything, you should be paying homage to the Russians and their people that helped stop Hitler from controlling everything. And I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to get into the whole Hitler thing. But yeah, there's no credit where credit's due. And I think the reason why the rest of the world hates Russia is because they're Christian. They're the last Christian nation in the world that's actually um, Orthodox Christian. And the Donbass area in Ukraine is Christian. And that's what started the whole fight, anyways, because the Donbass area, because Zelensky was unaliving Christians over there in the Donbass area. That's what happened. Watch Gonzalo Lira's channel. He's no longer with us anymore because Zelensky threw him in prison because he was talking about what was going on with the conflict. And he was arrested because they said he was sowing discord or disinformation. And he was a journalist, and he's not with us anymore because he was thrown into prison in Ukraine, a labor camp, and he didn't make it. He didn't survive because he had a bad heart. But he was trying to tell everybody what was going on over there in Ukraine because he was over in near the Donbass area. Let's just say that, and near Kiev and Krakow. I think it's where he was located at, and he was reporting from there and saying that the Russians were there to bring food and supplies to the Ukrainians because they couldn't get supplies there because there was too much conflict. So the Russian soldiers were bringing food to the Ukrainians so they wouldn't go hungry because Gonzalo Lira was saying that there was a shortage of food there in Ukraine because they couldn't get supplies there. And there's a lot of disinformation being spread about the Russians and how saying how terrible they are and they're heartless. And no, they were actually trying to help the Ukrainian citizens by bringing them food and supplies. And we have proof of that, video proof of it, that they were bringing supplies to them. And it's the Ukrainians that don't want to make peace. They're the ones who want to keep the conflict going because of those labs they had over there. And Russia is the one who bombed the labs, the bio labs, by the way, during the COVID thing. I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. But there was labs there, bio labs in Ukraine, and Russia bombed those in the beginning when all that conflict started. He bombed those labs, the bio labs. And let's not forget, they said Trump's a Russian agent or Russian asset or whatever. Let's just not forget that President 46 was the one who allowed the Nord Stream pipeline to pipe gas to Germany, from Russia to Germany. President 46 allowed that. He allowed them to run the gas from Russia to Germany because Germany needs gas because that's the only way they can heat their homes and cook and all that. They have to use gas. So the Russians gave them the gas they needed through the Nord Stream pipeline. And apparently, during that time, our country apparently bombed the Nord Stream pipeline. We did, apparently. I'm not saying that's 100% solid, but that's the rumor that it was our people that did that, that destroyed that pipeline that was going to go to that was going to Germany to provide them gas. So now there's no longer a pipeline, I guess now that's been cut off. But yeah. And also, I found out that Poland is racist. They didn't allow any people of color into Poland during the conflict in Ukraine and Russia. when people were escaping Ukraine on trains to go to Poland, they weren't allowing, let's just say, colored people into Poland. And nobody talks about that. Nobody discusses that. Why was that done? Why were the people discriminated against? See, all the facts, they're not being said. And Zelensky was allowed in the White House. And Zelensky hates Christians, by the way. He unalived quite a few Christians. Let's just say that. And no one wants to talk about that. He unalived mayors in cities in Ukraine that were waving the white flag, as in they didn't want any conflict with the Russians. So they would put white flags up, and that means surrender or peace. And they were punished for that because they didn't want to have conflict with the Russians or the Russian soldiers. They just wanted to stop. And they were not, they were removed. Those mayors were removed by the Nazis in Ukraine because they have Nazi tattoos. How do I know? Because the POWs that were picked up by the Russians had Nazi tattoos on their body. So they're the new Nazis. Yeah, so just look up Gonzalo Lira. He's the one who was exposing it. He was there in Ukraine reporting on it. And he said he had to hide out because he didn't want to get conscripted, because they were conscripting all men in Ukraine. Yeah, he's a reporter. He said he couldn't go back to America because he said he would be unalived because Biden hated him. Oops. I spelled that wrong. Good thing it didn't send it because I spelled it wrong. I don't know if his channel's still up on YouTube, but it was. It won't let me send it. I don't know why I can't send my own damn message. Am I still online? Anyways, it's Gonzalo Lira. Yeah, it won't even let me send my message. Okay, there it is. It's just being slow. Yeah, what I'm saying is not even bad what I'm saying. It's a fact. If you don't believe me, look it up. And it's on YouTube as well, Gonzalo Lira channel. If it's still on YouTube, he talked all about it, what was going on. And nobody wanted to listen what he had to say. Nobody cared what he had to say. Because they consider Ukraine to be the truth tellers. And he said a lot of the bombings and stuff in Ukraine were all on sets, and it was all fake. A lot of it was faked. Why do you think Kiev is still standing? Because nobody did anything to it. The city of Kiev, the capital, is still standing. Everything's still there because they weren't doing anything to them. I'm not saying nothing, but they weren't attacking Kiev. Because if they were, there wouldn't be anything left of it. Hardly anything has been destroyed. They try to say, oh, this is destroyed, that destroyed. And a lot of it's just sound sets. A lot of it's just sets, movie sets. It's to create drama so they keep getting more money sent to them and more stuff. I was a reporter fighting for freedom and was arrested in Ukraine. I'm betting that's, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was trying to escape at the end. He was trying to get out. And he was letting people know that he had to go underground, basically. And he said, if you don't see me again, he goes, I'm probably in a prison in Ukraine, in a in labor camp. Because they arrested him before and they let him out. Because they thought he was like a spy or something for the Russians. They thought he was a Russian spy and he wasn't. He had no connections to Russians at all. He was just reporting on what he saw. Oh, you're like, oh, I messed up and said I was a reporter. Yeah, he said he was a reporter. He was working with other reporters, reporting on the conflict over there in Ukraine in the beginning when it first started. And then he was saying a lot of it's just cooked up it's a lot of theater, and a lot of the Ukrainian soldiers have Nazi tattoos because they adopted the Nazi regime war tactics, and they don't like Christians in Ukraine. They don't like Christians. They're like a secular country. Russia is Orthodox Christian, and Donbass, that's in Ukraine, was mostly Christian, and there's churches there, and I think they were closing the churches in Ukraine. They were trying to close them all down because they're trying to be atheists. They live for the world. Just saying, am I wrong? So, yeah, I don't even care about what I'm saying. I don't even care if people don't agree with it because I know what I saw. And yeah, I do have a bias because I do have Russian in my family. I have German and Russian mixed. So there's that. So I kind of have a bias. And I feel better talking about it. But I think there's a pattern here why we demonize Russia so much. I'm not saying they're all good people or Putin's a good person, but I do agree with their value system on Christianity and that they don't allow people to do things immoral in public. People actually get arrested in Russia for twerking in public. They actually get for acting inappropriate in public. You actually get arrested. So there's that. So how long I've been on here? 51 minutes and 40. See, I'm on here because I'm testing out my YouTube account too. And this is StreamYard, so I also like trying that out. But I want to be able to speak out while I still can. Because they said, somebody wrote in a comment section, it was very disturbing. Because they're like, oh yeah, you guys think that you're going to arrest a bunch of people protesting in front of ICE and blah, 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 and we're going to get out of jail anyway because the liberal judges or whatever. And they go, when it's 2028 and Gavin Newsom's president, he's going to get you back. He's going to get back at all of you for what you've done. All you MAGA people, he's going to get back at all of you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try to speak out while I can, because if Gavin Newsom does get in, he's going to probably censor all of us where none of us can say anything ever again. It'll be like the UK, where no one will be able to say anything. So you might as well speak out while you can instead of being afraid. Because look what happened with Gonzalo Lira. He spoke out and he knew he was going to get in trouble, but he didn't care. He didn't give a crap. Yeah, you can use it on your phone. So you don't need a computer to do it. You don't need a laptop. You can use it on your phone. You just type in StreamYard, Google StreamYard, and you can set up an account through your YouTube. So yeah, that's how I figured it out. Accidentally I did, because I'm not like a computer genius. I just figured it out accidentally and I went with it. You know what I mean? You just click on something, you're like, what's that? What's that do? What's that do? What's that do? You know? Next thing you know, you're like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, and you're able to figure out how to override the computer system. You know? It's like, hey man, I can figure it out. I figured it out in like 5 minutes. You know? And I wear snazzy glasses. There's that. You know what I mean? It doesn't take much. I mean, you just mess with stuff and eventually you figure it out accidentally, right? You accidentally figure out how to figure this out. Yeah, we're old school, right? I still draw tic-tac-toes, you know what I mean? And I still do checkerboards when I'm like writing stuff. I'll draw like checkerboards. You know what I'm talking about? I still like crossword puzzles, that stuff. Like on paper, not I don't like that thing. It's called Royal Kingdom. It's like that's kind of stupid in a way. They're like, this is what you can do when you're bored or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I guess I could do that. And they go, you can use it offline. Like if you don't have a internet service, you can use it offline. And it's just you pushing back on these rocks that are falling on you. It's like, yeah, that looks great. Trying to, and it looks mindless. Like you touch the diamond, you touch the square, you touch it, and they do it so fast you can't tell what really the point of the game is. Like, how do you know which one's a matching one? Like which one is the link that opens up that thing to open it up? It's kind of reminds me of like Zelda, but like more advanced than Zelda. Like you're trying to escape the dragon and you're trying to get through these mazes before the dragon eats you. I think that's what they're trying to do is make it like The Legend of Zelda, but not, I guess, like a modern version of Legend of Zelda. Yeah, it's like if I'm bored, I want to dig in my yard and uh make mulch and stuff like that. That's what I do when I'm bored. You know what I mean? That's what I do. When I'm bored, I like to sew. I don't like to just play stupid mindless games like that, you know? Because it's just an excuse to keep everybody on their phone and not pay attention to what's going on outside. I didn't try it yet. I don't have it. I didn't buy it. I think it says try it for free. It's like I don't really care about it unless I'm like really bored, I guess. If I was like super, super bored. Like if I was stuck in a room with Katie Porter from California, that's one who run for governor. Yeah, I'd probably play Royal Kingdom because I don't want to listen to her because she sounds like an idiot and she seems really mean and really nasty person. I garden, cook, sew, crochet, paint. Right? Yeah. See, because we're 1980s, right? That's because that's what we did. Like we know how to fix a rip in our jeans. You know, we know how to sew a patch, that kind of stuff. We can sew a button back on our shirt, that kind of stuff. We know what Roman numerals are. We know how to write our name in cursive. You know what I mean? We know how to use a binder. We know what a trapper keeper is. We remember shoes that had Velcro on them instead of just shoelaces. That kind of stuff. We remember how to put a book cover on a book with a shopping bag. Even when I was a kid, most of us used to draw Nazi symbols on our book covers on our books because back then we didn't know what it meant. We just thought it was cool, right? To draw a Nazi symbol. And then had to use the record button on the VCR and record a favorite show you wanted to watch because your parents wanted to watch TV and you only had one TV, so you set the VCR to record your favorite show because the only TV you had was the one in the living room and the one in your parents' bedroom, and the parents are like, "We're in the living room watching TV, so you can't watch TV." So you couldn't watch TV in their room. So you go, "Can I record?" And they go, "Yeah, I guess you can record your stupid show and watch it later or tomorrow after school." Right? That's what I did. And it was 90210 when it came out, when it was a brand new show when I started high school. And it was like right when I was starting high school was when that show 90210 came out. It's right when I was going to be a freshman in high school in 1990. And I was like, yeah, this is really interesting. You know, it's like the timeline, you know. And remember the tapes when you would tape something off the radio? And if you broke the tab off of it, you could record over it. But if there was a tab, you couldn't record over it. I remember I broke some of the tabs on my mom's tapes, her Memorex tapes, and I record stuff on on the tape and tape over all her music from the 1950s. Like it was all a bunch of 1950s garbage, and I would tape all the 80s stuff from the Casey Kasem countdown. But you remember that, huh? And having to use a pin like this to roll back the tape when it would come out, the tape would come out and get all stuck inside the machine, stuck inside the tape machine. You have to like fix it and roll it like that. I used to record a lot from the radio. Yeah, I wish I would have saved some of those Memorex tapes. Is it real or is it Memorex? Right? And then also taping stuff off TV, the radio. What else? Right? All the stuff that everybody did, the same crap. Also, if you didn't want someone to call you, just take the phone off the hook if you know someone was going to call you and you wanted to stop calling all the time. Or the busy signal, right? Or you just wouldn't answer the phone, you let the answering machine get it. And if you didn't want your parents to know if you skipped school and the school would leave a message saying you were absent, you just erase the message off the answering machine. See, I'm so old I can't remember what the word is. Answering machine. I remember I used to erase all the messages from the school when they'd leave a message that I was absent because they needed an excuse for why I was absent. And I would just erase the message because I hear them calling because I would pretend I was going to school And then my parents would leave for work, and then I would just take the screen off the window and crawl back into the house. And my parents would be gone all day, so they wouldn't know I was there. And the school would call like an hour later after school started and ask why I was absent. And I'd laugh, and then I'd press the delete button. I'd delete the message right off the answering machine. So funny. And I just watched TV and watched soap operas and stuff. I was almost like Ferris Bueller, but I was like an idiot though. I wasn't like as crafty as he was. I didn't have a good time when I was ditching school. I would just watch TV, whatever's hang out and erase the message. And it was weird because my dad used to say, school or jail, school or jail. And I said jail because I knew he'd go to jail, not me. I'm like, I can stay here and skip school. You go to jail. And that was kind of like the joke, right? I got my neighbors to answer it for me. I babysat for her. Yeah, so I used to ditch all the time. I ditched in elementary school and I ditched in high school. And I got through it though. They would just pass me because they didn't want me coming back. So they would just push me up a grade. And I had all Fs and I had F in PE, all that. I had an F in PE because I didn't exercise or do anything. I would put my PE clothes on, but I didn't exercise. I'm not saying that to be cool. I'm just saying I didn't have the motivation to care because my parents were 1980s parents. They didn't give a crap. They didn't even care if we came home at night. You know what I mean? Like they'd lock the front door, and if you couldn't get in, you just slept outside. They didn't care. It's like, who cares? And then after a while, my dad figured out my secret, like how I was getting back in the house, and he put a stick in the window. Remember putting the stick in the window so you couldn't open it? He put a stick in the window so I couldn't reopen it. And I'm like, damn it. So now if I ditch, I have to like sit outside all day. So, anyways, I pretended I was going to school and I'd wait in the shelter and the bus would come and I wouldn't come out of the shelter and the bus would leave. And I was just sitting there and this guy pulled up and he asked me if I wanted to ride. And I said, no, I'm good. I don't need a ride. And I'm like, oh my God, it's probably a weirdo, probably going to kidnap me. You know what I mean? It's like, that was stupid. And I just walk home, but I couldn't get back inside. And then I gave up and I just walked to the lake and I stayed at the lake all day, skipped rocks or whatever. And I'm like, wow, it sucks ditching when you have nowhere to hang out. You know what I mean? Kind of sucks. But yeah, it's ignorant. It's ignorant. I mean, I don't recommend it to anybody else doing that, being a dumbass. But yeah, there was like one class I never went to all year in high school. It was I think I went to one class. I didn't like the teacher, so I stopped going to that class all year. I only went to school like 2 days a week most of the time. Although one thing I did achieve though, I did driver's ed in 10th grade. I did show up for every class for that. And the class was I think only about 3 months long because it was homeroom class and it was driver's ed. So I did show up for that. And it was only for 3 months. So I made sure my candy ass was there for that because I wanted my driver's license. And I got my learner's permit and took the driving test and I got my driver's license. So I was able to drive because my parents had an extra car. So I wanted to drive. So I made sure I got that. I was determined I wanted my driver's license. I wanted to drive. So I got that. So that was the only bonus for me was driver's ed. And most of school isn't used in the real world. Yeah. No, it's not. And plus we didn't come from monkeys, even though they said we came from monkeys in the science book. They said, oh, we came from monkeys. We used to drag our knuckles and shit. It's like, oh wow. I barely even like bananas, you know? You know what I mean? It's just really weird. Just all kinds of lies that were told to us in school about everything. Also, slavery and all that, they exaggerated a lot of it. They lied about a lot of it. A lot of it's just highly exaggerated. It's to create sympathy and bullshit. I never bought into it. It's just all a bunch of shit. The ice caps are melting, and we need to reduce our carbon footprint and blah blah blah. It's just a bunch of bullshit. No, it's like thank God Trump's in office because we're increasing our carbon footprint, and it's a damn nice footprint too. It's even better than a Sasquatch footprint. It's even more valuable because that footprint is feeding our families and keeping a roof over our head and bringing prosperity back to our country. So I like that footprint. That's the best footprint we could ever put on this earth. Is a footprint of prosperity and um, jobs. Bring more jobs back. And they said they just sent out the permission to start lithium mining up in Alaska, which is going to create so many jobs, electrician jobs, all kinds, and also Oklahoma City too. A bunch of AI tech jobs in Oklahoma City, and there's low crime there, and it's a red state. All kinds of really interesting stuff about that area, about that state, about Oklahoma. So I'm not saying move there, but there's a lot of good stuff that's going on in Oklahoma City, and they want people to move there that are conservative. So there's that. Carbon was higher before people came along. Yeah. We're not really affecting the earth that much. You know what I mean? Even the plastics and stuff that are in the landfills, it's part of our environment anyway. So eventually everything will go back to the earth, back to where it was. Oh, you like Oklahoma City? Yeah. I just kind of discovered it by accident, because I was watching the NPC show and he was talking about Oklahoma City and how um, people are starting to move to Oklahoma City from Colorado to Oklahoma City because Colorado used to be a red city because everybody was escaping to Colorado from California because California's so blue. So people were moving to Colorado because it was red at the time and people were trying to find conservatism and like-minded people. And it's turning blue and people from Colorado now want to move to Oklahoma City because it's red. So there's that. So I just kind of want to wait it out, see what happens with the shutdown, the government shutdown. And also I want to see what happens with the Proposition 50 here in California to see which way it goes, whether or not people vote no or yes. I'm hoping people vote no on Proposition 50. So it gives Republicans a chance in the state because if they pass Proposition 50, it's going to turn all of the red counties here blue. And that's not fair and not okay. You know what I mean? It's bad enough for a sanctuary state, but they're just going to push all the Republicans out. And also, if we get a Democrat governor in the state, all the rest of the Republicans will leave. And they said there's only about 40% Republican in California and 60% Democrat. And that's what the Katie Porter was asked. How do you think you're going to go about winning the hearts and minds of the 40% that are Republican in this state? And she didn't want to answer the question about how she would win their vote because she doesn't care because apparently they already have the majority here in the state anyway. So she doesn't really care about the 40% that are Republican in the state. She could give a shit about Republicans in this state. That's basically her attitude, that she doesn't care about Republicans in this state. She doesn't care at all. She only cares about making money on corruption and all that in the state, the same corruption that all Democrats have in the state. Ohio is trying to take control of our thermostats voluntarily at first. I said no. Yeah. Also, they got rid. I said no. Yeah, I knew you meant no. They banned in California. They banned wood stoves in California in new homes. If you build a new home in California, you can't have a wood stove in it. To heat your house, you have to have electrical or gas, but you can't have a wood stove. And I thought that's really messed up. So only the old houses have wood stoves. Yeah, and it gets cold here too, and it sucks that you don't have the option. You have to use electric or gas to heat your house. So when the power goes out and you don't have gas, I guess you just freeze your ass off. YouTube changing your words. Yeah, I couldn't even barely make that one comment about Gonzalo Lira on here. I couldn't even type it out. It was real slow, like it was real delayed in letting me type it. And my words are being like yours, they're being suppressed on YouTube as well. And I also being suppressed on TikTok because I put up a post that said that I hope that this country becomes more has more prosperity and has more Christian values. And they said this post isn't eligible to be promoted or whatever uh, in the suggestion category. It's not going to be put in suggested videos section. So it got suppressed because of, I said, Christianity and prosperity. And I also said, I hope Charlie Kirk's message has a resonating value in our country as well, and that his work is honored for his Christian values and his conservative values and family values. That was also suppressed. So yeah, it wasn't eligible to be promoted or anything else or put in the suggested viewing pile. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, it sucks. Even Charlie Kirk, he's no longer with us and he's still being shadow banned. You know what I mean? Isn't that sick? I'm just writing some notes down because I still use paper. I take pics and add music and get 500 to 1600 views. Yeah, how dumb. Yeah, you take pictures and add music and get 500. That's not bad. Yeah, I only get like maybe 6 views per view or per video on YouTube. Yeah, I have it right here, mine. Look at this. Yeah, they do a little better, but not great. The shorts, they do a little better, but not great. It's a little bit, it's like an improvement, but it's still suppressed to some degree. It's still being shadow banned, even with the shorts, and it has nothing to do with politics or anything. It's still kind of happening, you know? Yeah, look what else I have. All these healthy American stuff. Peggy Hall, Healthy American. I had to pay for this shit too. Stuff, I mean. Wonder if I can turn the camera the other way. No, I can't. I had to have done it when I don't know if you can see, but these are the ones I paid for on her website. I had to pay for all these. Yeah, see? An employer who forces a jab for employment or to retain employment are violating the Nuremberg Code. The Germans were prosecuted for administering experimental jabs on jays that unalived some. The employer is liable to pay you damages if they make you take jabs and you get damage from it. OSHA protects employees. OSHA is an insurance policy to hold the employer accountable if you get sick from forced jabs to get or retain employment. See, these are all my notes back during the ACHU. Let's see. See, I have tons of it. I had to pay for all this stuff, all this information, because she doesn't work for free, obviously. Let's see, deprivation of rights under color of law. I have all these, the amendments. And I have my mask exemption. See? See, I did my homework. And see this attestation of faith written by David Hall, Peggy Hall's husband. April 10th, 2021. See, that's when I requested it. I am writing to confirm the sincerely held religious beliefs of me regarding not participating in the C test, jabs, or wearing a face diaper. As ordained pastor and head of True Hope Ministry, I attest to me objection to this practice of C test or jabs, which are medical experiments because they are authorized but not approved. The body is a temple of the Holy Spirit and as such should not be used for medical experimentation. Further, the substances in the test and jabs are possibly harmful to the human body, and we are called to protect the body and not participate in pharmacia. And we all, whom with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed in his image with ever increasing glory, which comes from the Lord who is Spirit. 2 Corinthians 3:18. God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Genesis 2:7. The breath of life from God entered them. Revelation 11:11. Veiling of the face is a Muslim practice of submission to Allah. I am not a Muslim and is unable to violate her sincere and I'm unable to violate my sincerely held religious beliefs by engaging in a Muslim religious practice. Requiring me to veil my face with any sort of face covering, mask, or shield, which is a violation of my religious beliefs, would be akin to requiring a Sikh to remove her turban, which violates Sikhs' beliefs. The law states that a person's activities, what activities they participate in, and what activities they refrain from, are part of one's religious expression. Religious creed, religion, religious observance, religious belief, and creed include all aspects of religious belief, observance, and practice that are part of an individual observing a religious creed. Taking a C test, jab, or wearing any sort of face covering or shield is an affront to my religious beliefs. I concur and affirm her sincerely held beliefs, says David Hall, pastor, True Hope Ministry. And I paid for all this crap. And that's what I was going to give to my employer. This. I actually paid for all that in my pocket. There's all this stuff. And also this, notice and warning, no consent for medical testing and treatment. See, I did that in case I ever wanted to look for another, in case I was going to look for another job soon. I have all that. Number 1, all medical procedures, including testing, must be consensual and performed by a licensed physician in order to be lawful. 2, non-consensual administration of a medical procedure is a felony assault and battery, whether or not administered by a licensed physician. 3, you may not conduct any medical procedure or testing on my body or the bodies of my children without written consent from me. 4, protection of any group such as the general public does not suspend my individual rights. 5, any person administering medicine without the consent of the patient and or guardian is subject to and fully liable for major compensation and penalties owed to the victim. 6, criminal charges may be filed against those who can coerce, threaten, or perform medical procedures without patient consent. 7, by attempting any non-consensual medical procedure, you are agreeing to all terms herein. 8, the United States Constitution prohibits non-consensual medical testing and treatments. It's in the 4th Amendment. 9, additionally, I will invoke any of the numerous state and local laws and codes which call for penalties against the forced application of medicine and or practicing medicine without a license, which employers were doing back then. That's for the employer. 10. I attest and witness that I do not consent to medical testing and treatment. And see, this is what you sign right here. And you get them to sign it. And then you can sue them for forcing you to test and have treatment. Yeah, so there's I was all up in that crap. I went hog wild, man. It's all laminated. Yeah, see all these laws here. And they were all violated. But the powers that be won't follow any laws anymore. Yeah. I mean, it's over. I mean, this whole 19 thing is over with, but who knows what's going to happen next? You know, Trump's only going to be in office for so long, and then they're threatening us with Gavin Newsom, that Newsom is going to exact his revenge on us MAGA people. And even if you're not MAGA, they'll just label you as MAGA because you don't agree with their godlessness, you know? You know? They're going to do what they did to the J6ers, but they're going to do it on a mass scale. You know what I mean? They're going to put a lot of us in, you know what I mean, fun camps, like Hillary said, for the red team. The red team's going to go into fun camps. I don't put it past them. And they said Chuck Schumer just said the lockdown, or not the lockdown, same difference. The government shutdown, he said, it's the best week of his life. That it's getting better for him because he's crazy that he's doing this because he wants to give health care to illegal aliens and a bunch of wasteful spending, which is going to go overseas. And it's like billions of dollars, I think, when you add it all up of spending. And it's all going to go to other countries. How to do pastries and stuff like pastry cooking in Ghana. It's like, what? And that costs what, $4.2 million? No, that should be going to our people and our homeless. Like that, in our veterans. It should be going to that. So yeah, that's why the Republicans voted no against their bill. And then the Democrats voted no against the Republicans' bill, which did not include any of their crap. So yeah, it's just disgusting. They should be fired for shutdown. They're not. They're still probably getting paid too, right? Even if they're not getting paid right now, they got so much money stockpiled, they don't even probably care if they're getting paid right now because they have millions of dollars. Look at the governor of California. He's building a $9 million house in San Francisco. A $9 million house. And there's poop, there's crap all over San Francisco. And homeless all over. And yet he's building a $9 million house. And he's going to run for president. And I see his ads all over TV saying, vote yes on Proposition 50. Preserve our democracy. All that. It's like, it's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. You know what I mean? It's even written on our state flag. It's a California republic. It's not a democracy. So he's not right. He's wrong. So yeah, it's a terrible lineup we have of people running for governor right now. The only decent ones are the Republicans that are running, but I don't know if they have a chance to win because of all the cheating and stuff. And they said Stanislaus County, which is one county over from where I'm at, one county away, it's about 50 miles from where I live. There's more registered Republicans than Democrats in Stanislaus County. And Trump won Stanislaus County, and that's the valley in Northern California. He didn't win Stanislaus County last time when Biden ran against Trump. But this time Trump won Stanislaus County, which is phenomenal. He won Fresno County, Stanislaus County, and of course Butte County, which is a red county anyway, but he won those counties. Because I think people are getting tired of the Democrats' garbage and just them pandering to people that came over here illegally, and then citizens are getting the short end of the stick, and their taxes are going up to pay for people, other people's health care that just got here. that are on system, and they're all getting subsidies and stuff like that, and Section 8, and it's causing so much debt to our medical system. And why the waits are so long to get help from a doctor is because we have to wait in line behind all these new arrivals that are watering down our healthcare system. That's why you have to wait around in the ER for hours and hours to get help. Yeah, I remember I had to wait over 2 hours to go be seen by a doctor when I had kidney stones, and it wasn't even that busy. It's just I had to sit there and wait. And it's like there's something really wrong with that. There's something really wrong. There's something really weird going on. And remember my boyfriend told me, he goes, the only way you're going to get faster service is if you throw yourself on the floor. Just lay on the floor in the ER, and then they'll get you back. They'll take you to the doctor after that. But if you just sit there, they'll just make you wait and sit there and you'll mold in the chair. You know what I mean? Because it's all broken. The system is completely broken and fractured. You know what I mean? It's just crap. It's just disgusting. You know what I mean? And we see it all the time. We see it in all the doctors' offices. They're just packed solid. Yeah, I had to do that. I had to literally throw myself on the floor because I was in so much pain when I had my kidney stone attack. And I knew what it was because I already had one before I had a kidney stone attack. And I knew the symptoms, and I'm like, this sucks. Because I wanted to get something to ease the pain. So I sat there for like an hour, and then it was like rocking back and forth because I was so much pain and whatever. I can't think. It's so much pain, so much pain. And I threw myself on the floor, and then they're like, "Get off the dirty floor." And that's when I got sent to the uh, be seen by the doctor. And it was busy back there too. The ER was really busy. But I threw myself on the floor, and they actually helped me. I'm like, oh my God, if I hadn't done that, I'd still be sitting there for another 2, 3 hours, probably just sitting there like an idiot. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I wasn't trying to be a martyr or anything. It's just like I'm in so much pain. You know what I mean? And it just sucked. It's just like this really sucks. And to find out that the reason why we're waiting so long is because people that are illegally here are clogging the system up. You know what I mean? That's why our appointments are so far away, so many months and months apart. It's because the system is so overwhelmed with people that don't belong here, that are milking our system. And it's not just medical, but it's also the welfare systems, all of that. They're taking Social Security, all that. And they're all you, and then they take all the jobs because they steal Social Security numbers, and they're able to work for these people. And that's why they hate ICE, because ICE is finding out that there's illegal aliens on these at these work sites, and it's taking jobs away from Americans. It's just disgusting. Remember in Nebraska, it was like a couple months ago, they had a raid there at a meat packing factory, and most of the workers were illegal, undocumented. And then the meat packing factory had to put out a wanted ad for workers, and they immediately filled them within a day. They already had a bunch of resumes because there's plenty of people looking for jobs. They're like, these are jobs Americans won't do. It's like BS. No, that's not true, because they still got family to feed, got bills to pay. Yeah, I'll do that job. I will cut meat if I have to. I don't care, because people need jobs. People need work. Can't just be everybody sleeping in a tent in San Francisco, going to the soup kitchens. It doesn't work. That's just pathetic. We shouldn't have to live like that in America. We shouldn't have to live like a third world country. I'm losing my state insurance in 6 months because I'm turning 59 in November. Oh, is it going to go to Medicare or something? Medicaid, it's to switch over. Yeah, so right now, um, with ICE and all that coming in and deporting people, and then Trump taking illegal aliens off of Medicare and Medicaid, that's going to help take some of that stress off. So, yeah, that's good. But with the spending bill and the Democrats not voting for the spending bill, and then their bill includes adding illegal aliens and letting them have Medicare and Medicaid and all that. That's not fair. That's why their bill didn't pass. And then they're getting revenge by not voting on the Republican spending bill, and they know damn well it's only a temporary bill. It's till January. It's got to be revisited anyway. You won't be able to, you have to pay cash, right? Yeah, but Trump said he was going to lower the prescription cost on medicines, life-saving medicine. He said he was going to lower the cost of insulin, all kinds of stuff. And it was going to be called Trump Care or something. I don't know, Trump Pharma or something. I don't know, something. He was like real brief in it. But he did say he was going to get the costs down where people can afford their meds. Because not everything's covered or whatever. You should apply for Medicaid or whatever. Because if you're poor, you can probably get it. If you're low income enough. Oh, that sucks for you, right? But isn't that come with your disability? You should have some kind of coverage, or Medicaid or Medicare or something. I'm not sure how the system works, but you should have something. If you're poor, you should be able to get health care of some kind if you can't afford it. And you're low income, you're able to prove that your income's low enough, they can probably get health care or get health help because they can't turn anyone away unless you're now it's if you're undocumented, they'll turn you away, which is good. But you should look it up. No, you should look it up. They can't deny you Medi-Cal. They can't. Because if you're low income, you qualify for Medi-Cal. You should be able to get it. You should be able to get Medi-Cal then. I'm no expert, but I would look it up and see what you can get. Being low income, you should be able to get it. Because you're below an income bracket, you should be able to get it. I don't see why they would deny you though. I don't get it. I don't get why they would deny you. If you can't afford it, then they should let you have Medi-Cal for poor people, you know? You should probably look it up and see what you can get. I would go to the local welfare office and see what you can get because of your income. See what if they can help you. That sucks if you can't get any medical. Oh, you've already went to the welfare office and they told you can't get it. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you can't get your medicine. Well, maybe you can go to the if you're Catholic, maybe you can go to the Catholic Charities or something. They could maybe help you with the cost. If you're an older person. Yeah, maybe you should look it up and see if there's charities that can help you with the cost. Because there are some churches that do help people with things like that, I've heard. Help people with medicine and stuff like that. I would definitely look into it. Look to the Catholic charities too, as much as they're demonized or whatever, but they might be able to help you if you're an older person. They might help you. They like to help veterans, I know that. The Catholic charities, they do like to help people who are veterans that are older. They do help them with attorneys, stuff like that. They'll help them get resources. You know what I mean? With healthcare and stuff like that. So I would probably look into that. Not in my small town to even call. Oh, they didn't help you. Is it because you're not old enough, I guess, or you're not a veteran? Is that why they won't help you? Maybe that's it. It's like, oh, you're not old. You're not like an old person, or you're not a veteran. So we're not going to help you. That sucks. Well, I would just keep Googling stuff until you find an answer. Don't give up. Because if you give up, you'll lose hope. And you don't want, it'll ruin your health. You know what I mean? You should still keep trying. Just keep looking and keep trying. If you have to, you should write a letter to President Trump, to the White House, and see if they have any answers for you. Anyone gets back to you about the healthcare system, or Robert Kennedy or somebody, and just see. Oh, they don't want their insurance. Yeah, because they'll say you can sign up for Obamacare, right? But how much do you have to pay? Do they base it off your income? Oh, you already did. You didn't hear nothing? No one ever got back to you? Well, that's frustrating. How much are your how much are your asthma medicine? How much does that cost? It's weird because they say, oh, you have to have Obamacare if you don't qualify for Medi-Cal, you have to get Obamacare. And they said it's a law, right? Then how would they couldn't get you because they said at the end of the year they you have to pay a fine, right? At the end of the year. If you don't have Obamacare, you have to pay a fine. If you don't qualify for Medi-Cal or Medicare or whatever, you have to pay a fine if you don't sign up for Obamacare. I know that. I heard that when I was working. Um, and they say if you work over a certain amount of hours, you have to sign up for Obamacare. And if you don't sign up for Obamacare, you have to pay a fine at the end of the year. I don't know what it costs without insurance. I don't either. I don't know. But they said you don't qualify for Obamacare. Like even the cheapest rate, you pay for Obamacare, but I don't have a dime after paying the mortgage lot rent. Oh yeah, yeah. If you signed up for Obamacare, you wouldn't be able to pay your other bills because you have to choose between health insurance and paying your other bills. Yeah, that sucks. That's frustrating. Yeah, I don't go to the doctor anyway, and I'm relatively healthy, so I don't think about going to the doctor. I've had things happen to me, and I didn't even go to the doctor for it. I mean, the only time I went to the doctor is when I had kidney stones. But when you go to the ER, they can't deny you help, even if you can't pay. They still have to help you. So they can't turn you away if you're a citizen. They can't legally cannot turn you away. But if you're an illegal alien now, I guess they can now. But before that, they didn't. They want 1,000 a month. Oh, screw that. That's just a ripoff. You see, people I worked with had to pay for Obamacare, and they probably had to pay at least that much just as a single person. And it came out of their check. Yeah, I think they take it out of your check, out of your paycheck. So your check literally gets gouged. I remember I was got this job. I didn't keep it very long, but they said I had to sign up for health care, and they said they would take it out of my check. And I'm like, I can't afford that. I can't afford to have you take out a big chunk of my check to pay for Obamacare. And they go, well, yeah, you can exempt out of it, but you're gonna have to pay a fine at the end of the year. And that fine could be massive. You know what I mean? That fine could be over $1,000. And it's like at the end of the year, I don't know if I have the money to pay it. They'll just take it. You know what they do is they'll take it out of your tax refund. They'll just dox your tax return and take that and take all of it. And then you still owe them money. And you still have to sign up for Obamacare or they'll do it again. So who knows what that fine would look like? You know what I mean? That was so annoying. I only get $9.67 a month on SSI, so I don't make enough. I quit docs, but I had to get hernia surgery 3 years ago. Exactly. You only go when it's an emergency, like something that's really, really bad. Yeah, I heard about the the fine at the end of the year if you don't sign up for Obamacare, because a lot of these stupid jobs are now making you get Obamacare. It's like, oh, it has medical 401k, but then you have to sign up for a bozo care. I'm like, I don't want to sign up for a bozo care. The only way you can opt out of ObozoCares if you only work part-time. But if it's a full-time job, they make you sign up for Obamacare. And if you have kids, they make you sign them up for Obamacare. So it increases your payment. So you have to pay more because you have, for each person that's on in your family, you have to pay for each person in your family to have Obamacare. Ohio refused Obamacare. Oh, you mean making it, mandating it, where you have to have Obamacare. Um, if you don't qualify for Medi-Cal, you have to have BozoCare. Yeah, it sucks because the second you don't qualify for Medi-Cal anymore, you have to have Obamacare. It's like, what the hell? Like if you were like an independent contractor or something, or independent business owner, you have to sign up for Obamacare, or they'll fine you. And it's like that's taking out of my profits, you know? Like if you owned a cafe or something and you have to sign up for Obamacare, and it takes away from your profit, and then you still just break even. You're not making any money. All you're doing is enriching the Obamacare workers, the people that run that website, the people that run that company or whatever. The Obamacare fucking website, they get rich on it because of the premiums. They're so expensive, you know? And then obviously your co-pays are probably really expensive too to boot because it's so bozo care. It's like so stupid. It's like I don't want to. That's why I don't want to get a job right now. It's not that I'm lazy. It's like I don't want to get a job that has medical because it's only going to be part time. I'm not signing up for full time work. I'm not going to pay for health insurance. And it's not because I don't want to help my kid get insurance. I just don't want to pay out of my paycheck because I don't qualify for food stamps or anything else because they say you make over a certain amount, you don't qualify. It's like I still got to pay for food and all that too. Yeah, work under the table, right? It's fucking bullshit. They got you either way. Because when I was working as a housekeeper and I was working full time, under 40 hours, but like 37 hours, almost completely full time. But if I worked over 40 hours, I have to pay for a BozoCare. So I kept my hours under 40 um, deliberately because I want to pay for a BoboCare. But I didn't qualify for food stamps, so I had to spend the money out of my paycheck to pay for rent and food and everything else, and car insurance, gas, everything. And it's just a minimum wage job, and our rent's really expensive too. And it's like this sucks. You know what I mean? You just cannot get ahead. You know, it's just you just break even every month, and I couldn't stand it. Could stand this crap. And houses are like almost $1 million each. You know what I mean? And you have to come out with a huge down payment to even get in the door. It's like a joke. It's like I just give up. I'll just rent, I guess. It's just too expensive. Houses are almost $1 million each. I get food from the church. I don't blame you. But our government sends money to other countries. Right. Yeah, they were gonna in that Democrat spending bill, there was like almost over $1 billion worth of money that was gonna go to other countries to fund them in their stupid woke stuff over there in the Middle East and all that. It's just retarded. And they were trying to push that through and saying that Republicans need to vote on our bill, and they're trying to push one right now, a temporary spending bill. The Democrats came up with another one, and they're hoping the Republicans will go along with their stupid bill and pass that temporarily. It's a temporary bill, but it's till January. And the Republicans better not cave and vote on that bill because they want to open the government again. This is bullshit. They need to stand their ground and wait for the Democrats to cave and vote yes on the Republican spending bill, which excludes illegal aliens from getting Medicare, Medicaid. So yeah, that's what we want. We want no Medicare or Medicaid to illegal aliens because it's ruining our medical system. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what's happening right now. And the Democrats are sneaky. They probably already come up with a new bill, like they said, the media said it, and they probably already have it. And they want the Republicans, they're probably going to put it on the floor right now, the House floor, and have them vote on it. And the Republicans are going to show up for the vote, and they're all going to vote no on it, I hope, on the Democrat spending bill, because it's all got the same crap in it as the other bill. It's the same diarrhea bill as the other one that sends money to other countries and then gives illegal aliens medical care or medical. No, it's a big NO. Don't even show up for the vote. That's what the Democrats do. They don't even show up for the vote. Just don't show up. Just be the Democrats on the House floor. It's like, no, we're not voting on your bill at all, and we're not stepping one toe on the House floor to vote for it. It is an insult to the people and to the people that are in this House, that are Congress people. This is an insult. It's an insult. It's an insult to conservatism. It's a joke. So I say no, don't even show up. Even if the Democrats put the bill to the floor, the Republicans do not show up to vote on their bill. Just don't even show up. It's not worth it. Their bill sucks. They need to vote on your bill, the temporary bill, till January, which funds the government and does not fund illegal aliens from getting medical. That is the main thing we want, is for illegal aliens to not get medical. And the Supreme Court is supposed to vote too pretty soon about whether or not anchor babies can still stay here and get government benefits. I don't know which way they're going to go on that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's up to God right now. It's up to God which direction that goes in. I'm not even trying to be hateful to anybody, but I'm saying if you broke the law, you need to go home. And at the very least, apologize for soaking the system and being dishonest and taking away from other people, taking jobs away and also benefits and medical services to people that need it, that were pushed to the back. Maybe some people were lost their lives because they had to wait so long to get medical treatment because the waiting list was so long that they lost their life waiting. Someone who needed maybe a crucial transplant, like an organ transplant, weren't able to get one because all the illegal aliens need a transplant. And an American that desperately needed one couldn't get one because they had to wait behind 1 million illegal aliens that need transplants. And the illegals were getting the donated organs instead of the Americans that were waiting to get a life-saving transplant. Yeah, that's what's happening. And they can't deny that's what's happening, what's been happening. So some people probably lost their lives waiting in line to get a transplant, a life-saving transplant, and they had to wait behind 1 million illegal aliens that were waiting on transplants. And they probably got favoritism and got the transplants, and the American didn't get the transplant. Just so unfair. So unfair. This medical is only reserved for Americans only, not for outsiders or here illegally. They're not entitled to our medical, and they're not entitled to our jobs, and they're not entitled to our housing. But right now, they think they are, and they're going to protest outside ICE and express themselves and say that they have a right to stay here and continue to break our laws. And they're just going to use intimidation tactics to get ICE to stop arresting people and sending them back to their country. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to intimidate people. That's all it is intimidation, is to scare people to not take action. And then they'll wait for the Democrat to get in office, and then they'll just reverse everything and let all the illegal aliens back into our country and start giving them more free shit. And that's what they're going to do. That's what they want to do. And they're going to use Gavin Newsom as their front runner for the Democrat candidate for president. Because he's campaigning like crazy right now in my state on our local airwaves here. Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newsom. Campaigning like crazy. He's trying to get the hearts and minds of people to think that he's some kind of savior, that everybody is equal here. Everyone's an American, even if they're undocumented. We all are red, white, and blue and all that. Just shut up, man. You don't know what you're talking about, man. You know what I mean? He didn't deserve to have the presidency. He deserves to just finish out his term as governor and just go retire somewhere, because he's in his 50s. He just needs to retire and enjoy his money and all his brand new houses and cars and stuff. Just go home. Go home and take care of your fucking family. Go home, take care of your kids. Why doesn't he just do that? Just go home and be a dad and stop being a jerk. Why doesn't he just do that and thank his lucky stars that he's lucky enough to have the things that he has and the life that he has? Instead of trying to rule the world and rule the country, why don't you just do that instead? Why don't you just focus on being a dad and being good to your kids and praising God for all the gifts that you've been given and also repent your sins? That too. But he's not going to do that. I doubt it. He's going to be like Katie Porter and he's going to act like a jerk and act like he's entitled to be president, just like she's entitled to be the governor here in this state. And she can be as nasty as she wants, and everyone's supposed to put up with her because, according to her, she has a lot of support. She doesn't have to entice Republicans to vote for her in this state. She's just going to win anyway, and that's all that matters. Just saying, right? Just saying. Yeah, so I appreciate you coming in, Tammy. You always come in and watch my channel. But congratulations on your videos getting 1,000 to 1,500 a piece. That's really good. You must be doing something right because if you weren't, you wouldn't be getting that many views. And thanks for the advice. But yeah, I'll give it a try, the video shorts, but I'm not going to put too many I'm not going to put too much emphasis on it that it's going to change anything. It is what it is, right? Vivek Ramaswamy is running for governor of Ohio. What do you think of that? Don't know. Yeah, a lot of changes are happening. You notice that no one's seen Mitch McConnell? Maybe he retired, huh? Because he was kind of in bad shape the last time we saw him. He probably did retire because he's obviously not doing well. I don't know who took his place, but nobody's heard from him. The old guard just needs to just retire. You know what I mean? We need younger people to run these offices. We need, and you know what? If you watch Kim Clement's channel, he said back in 2014 that the young people would start to come back to the church and start believing in God. So I think it might happen. You know, he said the young people would be in the streets and they would praise the word of God and profess their obedience to Jesus Christ. And that's supposed to be um, after December of this year, I believe. That's going to start happening. That people are going to start going more, start believing in God and going to church and being faithful and repenting. So we might have 10. Kim Clement said we might have 10 to 15 years of peace and prosperity. So that's before the evil one comes, I guess. But why don't we enjoy it while we can? But I'm still going to build my fortress, right? I'm still going to stockpile and all that, still be prepared for the storm that's coming because we know it's coming. So you always stay prepared no matter what, even if things are hunky dory, right? Everything seems to be okay. But you still want to prepare for the storm that's coming. And also, Kim Clement said the next leader would be of Cuban Cuban descent, not consent, Cuban descent. So it could be either Marco Rubio or it could be Ted Cruz, but it might be Marco Rubio because of the peace deal in the Middle East. Maybe a lot of people from the Middle East are going to have a lot of respect points for Marco Rubio, and he could be the uniter in this country. So maybe it'll be Marco Rubio, possibly, and then he could pick J.D. Vance as his vice president. So that wouldn't be half bad of an idea. So maybe Marco Rubio might throw his name in the hat, you know, if he gets enough support. You know, the last time around he didn't get any traction, but maybe this time he might get the traction he needs to win. And if Trump endorses him, he's definitely going to get the ticket. And it looks like Trump is trying to be really cool with Marco Rubio, so it might work. So, and Kim Clement predicted it was going to be a man of Cuban consent. Consent. I keep saying consent. Dissent. There's a difference in consent and dissent. Vance goes way the wind blows. Yeah. So maybe it will be Marco Rubio. You know what I mean? I don't know who Marco Rubio would pick for vice president, but it doesn't matter. As long as he goes the right way and he carries on the torch of what Trump's doing, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. So I'd say there's a high probability it's going to be someone of Cuban consent. I keep saying consent, dissent. And it's not going to be, hopefully not, Gavin Newsom, because he's going to do what he did to California. He's going to do it all over the country. He's going to turn the United States into California, and that's not good. He's going to deprive you of water, everything. Turn off your electricity, all that. The planned power outages. PG&E, that's who our carrier is here. PG&E, they do planned power outages, that kind of thing. And we all have smart meters here. They won't allow people to have the old analog meters. You know, the one that looks like a spinning wheel, the old analog that counts your usage. They used to have that, and then they put these analog um, ones in there. So, I mean, not analog, I mean smart meters. I must be going crazy. Smart meters. They put smart meters in, and people were saying the smart meters in Paradise were blowing up during the fire. That their smart meters were blowing up. The ones inside their house or outside the house, the smart meter would overheat and explode. And nobody talked about that. That the smart meters were blowing up in Paradise, California. So there's that. So when you have a smart meter, just be aware of it, that those things could blow up and start your house on fire. Because this one lady had a smart meter on her house, and it was in the Paradise fire. She was in a rental, and the house had a smart meter on it, and there wasn't any fire around her house, but the meter exploded. The smart meter exploded, and her house started burning. So yeah, and you have to have them. Like, it's like a rule. And if you live in an apartment building, you can't opt out from having a smart meter because it's the owner of the place that authorizes the smart meter. So you don't have a choice whether or not you have a smart meter if you live in an apartment. But if you own your own house, you can get a request to keep your analog meter. But the power company is going to tell you there's an extra charge for that. If you keep your analog, they'll charge an extra fee. But some people don't care about the extra fee. They just want to keep the analog meter. They don't trust the smart meter on their house, that it's not going to explode and burn their house down. Yeah. Yeah, they want you to get a smart meter. They want you to take your analog meter down and put the smart meter up. See, if you live in an apartment, you already have a smart meter because most owners of places are already having those put in. The smart meter. Yeah, if you keep your analog meter, you can read your usage. You can actually see. The faster that wheel turns, the more power you're using. The slower it moves, the less power. You'll notice it. Like when you turn on the air conditioning or whatever, it'll move faster. But when you shut all that stuff off, it moves slower. Your usage slows down a lot. So, and my electricity bill is about $100 a month, and that's just not using anything. So, because I don't want gas, because I don't want to pay an extra fee for gas, natural gas. So I just have electric only, and I prefer only electric because I don't want to pay an extra fee because I'm too damn poor. So there's that. I have a lot of shit to say. Sorry. I just had a lot of shit to say. And I had a video on here a while ago about electric cars, and it got taken down off YouTube. So I had my qualms about electric cars, and I'm not going to get into that, but I did. And it's only my opinion, so there's that. I'm not going to make the video about it because it got my channel, or not my channel, but my video taken down here. And I also I appealed a couple of videos I have on here about the election, the 2020 election. I appealed those on YouTube, and one of them got put back up, and there's two other ones I'm waiting to see if they'll allow them to put those back up. Because they said people can have those videos put back up if you have a 2020 election video or the COVID-19. They can possibly put those back up if you appeal it. They'll possibly approve the video and put it back up. So if you have any videos like that and it got taken down, you can appeal them, the removed video, and they might put it back up. So you just have to appeal it. And it takes a few days, but you'll find out within a few days whether or not they're going to let your video be put back up. And a lot of people are doing that, I guess. They're appealing, and some of their videos are being put back up. And it's about the 2020 election and the 19 thing. So I appealed those. Those are the ones that got taken down that I had. And they had some views and it got taken down. So there's that. There you go. But thank you for coming in, Tammy. I appreciate it. And I've been on for 2 hours. So thank you so much for coming in. It's Thursday, October 9th, I think. It's 8 days of the shutdown, 8 or 9 days. Hopefully the Republicans don't cave to the Democrats' spending bill and vote yes on their stupid bill. Don't sign anything. Don't vote on any Democrat bills because their bills are stupid and they don't benefit us as Americans. It actually hurts us as Americans. Yeah, you're welcome for watching it. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for doing a live stream. I just say thank you for watching it. But I really actually enjoy making videos. I do. Even though I don't get a lot of views on them, but I do like making them. Getting a strike or whatever is not fun, but I still like making them anyway, even with that kind of looming over my head that I could possibly get one just from making a video because I'm me. So being me gets me a strike, right? I hope I don't get one, but if I do, I don't really have any control over it either. Even though I'm careful about what I say, like I didn't bring up the electric car stuff. I'm not getting into details. I just said electric cars only with no description of why. But like I said, I have my opinion about it, about what I think. And that Katie Porter too, that's Dodo, is all for electric cars. Let's just say that. And saying, oh, you can save so much money by going to that. And we want to lower the prices of electric cars and shit. And you're going to save money because you don't have to buy gas and all that and sit in a gas station. It's like, no, you don't have to sit at a gas station for like 2 minutes and fill up your whole car. You'd rather sit there for 45 minutes and charge it. That's even better, especially with the criminal element we have right now. You really want to sit at a charging station? No, you just want to fill up your car and leave. See, there's my opinion. I'd rather just take 2 minutes, fill up my car, get a Slurpee or whatever, and drive away and go to my destination. I don't want to sit at a charging station for 45 minutes. She's all, you could just charge it in your garage. Yeah, you can do that. But I'd rather just put gas in it and go. 2 minutes tops, 2 minutes to fill the whole car up. And you can get a drink and all that. And you're on your way. You don't have to sit there for 45 minutes having to plug it in like a toaster. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I like the old ways better. I'd rather just put gas in the car and go. So there's that. I guess there's some people that may not agree with me on that. That's your opinion, and this is my opinion. I'm not telling anybody else what to do, by the way. I'm not telling anybody what to drive, what to do. Nothing. You have to have 10 grand to buy the car charging station. Yeah, it's a whole thing. You can't just plug it into your kitchen outlet and go and call it a day. Yeah, there's that. I'm not investing. I'm dusting off my old car and I'm fixing it. And it doesn't have any GPS stuff in it, which I like about it. Yeah, to do it at your house, right? She's like, oh, you can just charge it in your garage, but she doesn't mention the other parts of it, the other components involved. And she's like, we need to lower the prices so the average person, American, can buy one. It's like, they're not going to lower the price on it. You know what I mean? They're not. Even if they lower the price on it, I'm still driving my gas car. I'm just not, I'm just not going to do it. I don't care how low you put it down. I'm just not interested. Not interested. Just I'm going to buy a gas car. I'm going to buy a gas car. If I'm going to invest in something, I'm buying a gas car. And I want to be able to fill up my car within 2 minutes and go and be able to do what I want to do instead of sitting at a charging station. I'd rather do that. Sorry, that's just me. I'm not telling anyone else what to do. And see, I'm in the danger zone because I'm talking about the electric stuff and I'm not going to get into that. So there's that. So by the way, oh, here's the disclaimer. You can drive an electric car if you want. Okay? There you go. So don't clip me on this one. That's how I got my other video removed. Yeah, I don't either, Tammy. I don't either. I just don't feel comfortable. I would rather have what I want. I want a choice, by the way. That's what I want. I don't want to like just the only choice I have is a shit sandwich. I would rather have a steak than a pile of shit on my plate that a horse just took on my plate. I'd rather have a steak than a pile of animal manure on my plate. Sorry. Sorry. Just my opinion. For entertainment purposes only. Thank you for telling me that. I should have said that, huh? But yeah, I want what I want, okay? And I might be old fashioned, but I like the old ways better. The newer ways are not so great. Not so great. Because the more you get involved with this new stuff, the more you want to reminisce about the older stuff. You know what I mean? Just saying. So thank you for coming in, Tammy. I appreciate it. And I got to get going because I got to buy some food and other stuff, I guess, a few items. Everything's still inflated as we speak right now. But maybe if we're faithful and we pray, the Democrats will vote for the Republican spending bill. It's only good till January anyway, but at least people that are undocumented aren't going to get health care and keep draining our medical system. That's all I can say. And maybe if we keep and we stand strong in that, insurance premiums will go down to where, quote, the American people can afford it. Right? There's that. Get some more independent contractors to lower the prices on insurance. And then the average American can afford insurance. Just saying. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later on. And bye, Josie, if you watch this later. Bye-bye.